Okay, so we're still talking right now about finding the equation of a line. So far we've talked about two ways. It's finding the equation if we know the slope and the y-intercept. And the second way that we've discussed so far is if we know the slope and a point on the line. So now we're going to talk about finding the equation of a line using 2 points on a line. So the first thing that we have to do when we're using 2 points is to find the slope with those 2 points. So as we know, when we find a slope given 2 points, we use our slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Once we figure out our slope given the formula, we are going to use that in our equation, and then we're going to substitute the coordinates of either of the given points into the equation and solve for b. Again, it does not matter which point you choose, but because you should still get the same answer for b because they are both points on the same line. Finally, you're going to finish by writing the equation using the slope and the y-intercept that have been calculated. So let's do an example. So the first thing that we're going to look at is example. So find the equation of a line that passes through the points 4, 7, and 1, 1. So I start off by figuring out what my slope is using m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I can call my points whatever I want. I'm going to call this one x1, y1, and this x2, y2. So now that I've identified my points, I can fill my information into my formula. So y2 is going to be 1 minus y1, which is 7, divided by x2, which is 1, minus x1, which is 4. And I figured that out. 1 minus 7 is negative 6, divided by 1 minus 4, which is negative 3. I do the simplification here, or I reduce this, and this becomes m is equal to 2. So now that I know that my slope, I can say y is equal to, go back into my formula for the line, and y is equal to mx plus b, and I can fill in my value for m, which is 2. So I'm going to say y is equal to 2x plus b. So here, now that I know my slope, I can figure out what b is by substituting either of these points into the line. So let's do this point here, because 1, 1, those are easy numbers. I like them. So we're going to substitute 1 in for y and 1 in for x plus b. And I find that 1 is equal to 2 plus b. I bring my 2 to the other side, and I get 1 minus 2 is equal to b. And here I see that this is minus 1 is equal to b. And just to prove a point, I'm going to show you that if I had chosen my other point, I should get the same value. So my slope is still 2, x plus b, and my other point here is 4 and 7. So 7 is my y value, my x value is 4 plus b, 7 is equal to 8 plus b, and I bring the 8 to the other side, and I find, yes, as I suspected, b is still equal to minus 1. So now that I know my slope, now that I know that b, I can finish the question by writing out my equation where y is equal to 2x minus 1. And that is the equation of the line that passes through the points 4, 7, and 1, 1. So here's another example where I have my points 2, negative 8, and negative 6, 12. And this is another case where I am asked to find the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. So again, the first thing that I need to do here is to find my slope using my slope formula. So I have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to call this x1, this one I'm going to call y1, over here I'm going to call this x2, and I'm going to call this y2. Y2. So now I fill in my equation. So I have 12 minus y1, which is a negative 8, over x2, which is negative 6, minus x1, which is 2. And I find that I have this is going to be 20 over negative 8. And when I reduce that, as I always reduce, I end up with negative 5 over 2. So now that I know my slope is negative 5 over 2, I take my equation for a line and I fill in my slope. So I now know that y is equal to negative 5 over 2 x plus b. And here now I need to figure out what b is. Well, I need to know what my value of x is and what value of y is. Well, I'm given that in either of these points, and you can choose either point, whatever one you happen to choose. I will choose the point negative 6 and 12. So I put in 12 for y, and that's equal to negative 5 over 2 times x, which in this case is negative 6, plus b. So here I'm working with fractions, which of course isn't a problem because we all know how to multiply, divide, add, subtract our fractions. So you have 12 is equal to, okay, so I'm going to multiply these together. So of course negative 6 is like 6 over 1, so negative 5 times negative 6 is 30. And this is a 2 times 1, which is going to be equal to 2. So 2 times 1 is equal to 2 plus b. So 12 is equal to, I simplify this and I find that it's 15 plus b. I subtract 15 from the left, and that's equal to b, and b is equal to negative 3. So now that I know my value of m and my value of b, I can finish the equation by writing in my slope of negative 5 over 2x minus 3, because that is my value of b. Okay, and that is it. So at this point, I would like you to go ahead and do the assigned work.